Here's your word for the day from Calvary in Lake Havasu. Visit us on the web at calvaryaz.com.
Well, hey there. Thanks for tuning into Your Word for the Day from Calvary. My name is Robert, and it is good to be here with you. We're wrapping up a little section here as we've been in Ephesians chapter 5, looking at God's plan for marriage and family and how that is to function and be structured. And what the verse we're going to be looking at, verse 33, is a little bit of a summary statement. And so if you missed one of the previous ones, go back and look at that and hear this taught a little bit more directly. We're going to be kind of summarizing as Paul does here, because as he gets to the end of this section in verse 33, he summarizes the last 11 verses basically, and he says, "However, let each one of you love his wife as himself, and let the wife see that she respects her husband." And so again, we're given instructions of, hey guys, here's how this is supposed to work. Husbands, you're to love your wife as you love yourself, as Christ loved the church. Wives, you're to respect your husbands and to follow his leadership. And as we look at this, again, I'm not going to break down what that looks like for each. It's already been done this week in previous episodes. But what I am going to do is Paul kind of goes back, guys, hey guys, here is the plan. We've talked about this, but I want you guys to get this. Likely in the same culture he was in, but in ours as well, this isn't exactly our culture. And depending on your perspective and maybe your background, the culture you're from, this might go very against what you have kind of expected and envisioned for your relationships. And this is a moment for us to just pause and go, hey, how are we navigating life? Are we doing that based on what we want or based on what Jesus tells us in his word? And part of us following Jesus is being in a place of saying, I'm going to surrender and follow Christ. Not just in the spiritual areas, not just in my prayer life and my devotional time and attending church, but everything that happens in between as well. And it is the act of saying, God, I'm going to trust what your plan is here, and that is better than mine. And this isn't just with your relationships. I'm not trying to spiritually bully you into following this, but just to challenge you to say, hey, it is so easy for us to approach our life of following Jesus and to go, hey, God, can I do it my way, but you kind of just like rubber stamp it and say, I can go ahead and do that, and you bless it anyways, when that's never an option that's presented to us in Scripture. But instead, we are called and invited to surrender to his plan for our finances, for our lifestyle, our hobbies, our work, for our speech, our thoughts, our families, and how we navigate that. For every aspect of our life, we're invited to say that God has a plan for our life, that he has thoughts and opinions of how we're to navigate these areas. And our task is to do our best to follow his plan and submit to that. And so my invitation to you is just to begin reading the Bible if you're not already, going, hey God, where am I not following your plan? And help me to take a step towards obedience there. Because I know that when we go, God, your plan that you lay out in your word here is better than mine. And when we walk in obedience to it, everything gets better. For our marriages, in this case, to our work, to our lifestyle, our decision-making, our thought life, everything gets better when we seek to operate in humility and submission to God's plan. So I hope that you would do that and that you would seek to follow Jesus in his instructions. We'll see you next time.